Hello everyone, this is Garrett, and this is Serious Sam 3, and we're about to do level 4, No Place to Hide. And level 4 starts off nice and quiet and there is an armor shard up there, which is the first thing we're gonna try and get. This level is filled with jumping puzzles, and after some practice and playing around, I have indeed concluded that jumping puzzles at a lower frame rate is just terrible. It's just a lot easier if your frame rate's high, but whatever. We're gonna jump to that thing, and then we're gonna walk all the way back here, because there's about 8 enemies which are pretty missable, 2 of which are these. If only due to the fact that it's not immediately obvious that they spawn there. Also, enemies start dropping assault rifles in this level, which is actually quite nice because it means we get to use this pretty much instead of the pistol for most cases, just due to the fact that this gun is just so nice. It's just a faster pistol that you don't need to reload as much. But before we move on to scary things, there's a health bar up over there. It's really fun to get because first of all you need to jump on this little wall over here. Then from here you jump on that little wall. And then from this little wall you jump from place to place. And then hope this jump goes right. And apparently we picked it up already. But there you go. It's very easy to fall down and you have to use those barrels to get back up again. And jumping on barrels is probably the hardest thing you can possibly do in the game. Now there's some clear skeletons here. I kind of would recommend using the sledgehammer here. Though I would actually more recommend walking away from the staircase, because the staircase ruins things. For some reason the game gets a bit confused when there's even a small height difference between you and the enemy when it comes to melee attacks, and you'll end up sometimes doing like the slow mallet swing or just not doing your like grabby grab, and that can be really bad because those clear skeletons hurt. But whatever, we only got hurt a little bit, and there's a bunch of new enemies here which we can use. Well, not really new enemies, but they're enemies which we can use our trusty more usable assault rifle on now that they actually drop ammo for it, which is nice. I really do enjoy this weapon a lot more than the pistol because it's just a lot less reloading. It shoots faster, it kills more stuff, and it's just a little bit more fun, honestly. But before we move to the sound of a we're gonna jump on top of these boxes because there is some secret electricity. And with that secret electricity, we're gonna move on ahead. There's actually another secret laser gun in this level as well, so if you did miss it previously, don't mind me, I'm just failing a jumping puzzle. It's not even a jumping puzzle, it's just a couple of boxes. If you did miss the previous secret laser, there's one in this level as well. So if you're having a little bit of trouble, it might help out a little bit. But for now, we're just gonna mostly use this gun, just because it's just so good against the enemies we're fighting. And they don't really stand a chance when we're using this. So here's this sound. This is a turret, sort of a Gatling gun, minigun type thing. And it shoots at everything, including you, including the enemy. Which is nice, because of this particular scene over here. It gives you a pretty decent idea how well it works. And about 5 shots of this thing will kill you, so don't get hit by it. It's really, really bad.
Alien hamburger, my favorite.
Fortunately, there's always a switch to turn it off.
5.
Which means it's no longer dangerous. But when we walk this way, and then immediately walk back upon hearing a scary noise, we're going to just turn it back on again. Crouch for a bit so you don't get shot too much. And just enjoy the scene for a moment, honestly. It's just a really fun thing to see with this. We've already killed 64 enemies, and we probably killed about 10 of those. But if you do feel like you wanted to add to the battle, you can always do this. Pretty much all of them drop like shotgun ammo as well, so it's pretty much impossible not to be completely filled up on that after seeing all of that happen. But they also drop some assault rifle bullets, which is always really cool, of course. But those turrets are going to be appearing throughout the level, which is something you want to look out for, and probably one of the reasons why the estimated time for this level is so high, due to the fact that there's just a couple of mazes. But here's the thing that crawled down, and if you pick up this helmet, we find hard to find enemy number 3, because there's just a couple of enemies which only spawn if you pick up certain items. And yeah, it makes it very easy to accidentally miss roughly 6 to 8 enemies at the end of the stage, and it's kind of sad when that happens. But moving onwards, we're going to turn off a couple turrets after making sure that they've killed everything they can kill, like those 2 guys over there. For some reason they don't shoot eggs, but they do shoot the ones coming out of the eggs, so they're oddly programmed, I guess. But after turning off that turret, we can move forward and turn off the turret which was blocking us initially. You can actually turn off this turret as well by just sort of like making your way through the little buildings over here and just sort of quickly going from doorway to doorway. But it's scary and I don't like being scared. Also, there's some armor over here. Not actually secret armor. And there's actually a couple of these doorways which would have been secret areas in previous levels, but not in this one because I guess there's just too many of them. But there's just a lot of little doorways which you can break with the sledgehammer and then enter. And then get a couple power-ups. Usually it's armor, but hey, armor's good, so why not get it? But we're just gonna move on. More jerks. More sledgehammer fodder, I suppose you could call it. And I quite like that. There's a lot of instances to use a sledgehammer in this level. And that's just always fun to me. Including this guy, which I still don't know where this guy spawns. Because I've seen him all the way at the end over here. I've seen him just sort of be in front of me suddenly. But he spawns somewhere over here. And he's very missable. So there's another turret over there. Little courtyard. And it kind of gives you a better idea how the range of these things work. Because that thing is like slightly out of range right now. And it'll start aiming at you, but it won't actually start firing if you get, like, to a certain distance of it. It'll even make the noise and everything. But it's not dangerous right now. So that's definitely something to remember, because there are a couple instances where it seems like the thing's going to shoot at you, but in all actuality, you can actually just walk past it. And this is one of those instances, because we can actually just walk using the same route that the big dude took. Destroy this here wall to get some more armor and assault rifle bullets. And move on ahead without any real problems at all. 2 more Gnars to take care of, but we have a sledgehammer, as you may have noticed. And dude on the wall. But dude on the wall is pretty weak. Now, don't get shot. It's bad. This thing does so much damage and I always get so scared when it starts aiming at me. After turning this thing off, dismissed. It's gonna spawn a bunch of these guys. You can let the turret kill them. I'm just gonna kill them myself because the sledgehammer does a good enough job, honestly. You don't really get any benefit from letting the turret do it just due to the fact that these guys die in one hit from a sledgehammer. So you might as well do it like this. Also, there's one up there which I might be able to barely reach. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna shoot it a couple times. And then we don't need to worry about it anymore. Now, there is a bunch of bags here. These bags contain secrets, sort of. They hide this thing. It's sparkly and translucent, and it's covering a cracked wall. Cracked walls, in that sense, become important because you need to fill up this translucent thing somehow using the powers of things which are not translucent. But we'll see those when we get there. First, we're just going to make our way forward, sledgehammer a couple more stuff, including things that are on walls, because they are just that low on the floor. Shoot at everything that moves, shoot at everything that doesn't move, destroy everything, have a jolly good time. And then turn off this turret, which is just blocking you otherwise. Which is really the main reason why we took this small detour. But, it's a big building, ignore the big building, look at the wall. The wall's great. The wall's good. There's a secret laser gun that I was talking about. But there's also another secret over here. And this is where frame rate makes an issue. Because if you're running this at like a decent frame rate, not what I'm running it at right now basically. Like I'm running it at 30 right now. And you can just jump on that thing. And then just jump and you'll just be immediately on that thing. And then just jump your way forward. On my frame rate, right, you need to basically gain momentum by jumping really, really quickly. You can't take breaks, basically. And this might take a while, but let's see if we can do it in one go. But basically, you need to jump like that. I am not really sure how this works, but for some reason, it makes you jump slightly higher. And there you go. I'm surprised that went right in one go. And I'm making a quick save, because this last jump could go wrong, and I don't want to do it again. But it went okay, so don't worry, guys. This thing's solid. Every other instance of this particular black wire is not solid. This one is. Good luck finding that one. Really fun. But there's a secret explosive behind it, which we can maybe use on the translucent thing, which looked exactly the same. So we just need to walk away back. It's not too far back, fortunately. And we just place down the crack. And we could blow it up right now. We could actually also just jump over it entirely. And then we won't have to face the issue at all, because there's a secret rocket launcher here. And you can actually destroy the wall from this side as well. But due to the fact that the rocket launcher does actually deal damage to you, and if explosives are on the other side of the wall, they won't deal damage to you, I'm just going to do it the safe way. use that C4. There's really not much point to that C4 otherwise anyway. And there kind of is some point to that rocket launcher. So we're not going to be using it immediately, but we'll be using it eventually. And that's what matters. But we're going to move to this cutscene.
Quinn, Chopper's reconned. Garrett's gone.
He made it out?
Negative.
Shit. Okay, well, we've been able to decipher the tablets Professor Stein was working on. It seems...
Quinn, I'm gonna have to get back to you in a second.
Sam, what's going on?
Hey! Get the hell off my ride!
So you can actually destroy this helicopter right now
Something heavier.
using the rocket launcher we just picked up. The rocket launcher is actually the only thing that can damage this thing as well. But I'm not going to. I'll explain why in a minute. But first we're just going to kill off this guy's friends. This helicopter just sort of disappears after a while. And doesn't actually do anything. If you shoot a couple more times, he'll say something else.
Ordnance isn't gonna cut it.
Sam will use the word ordnance, which is probably the longest word I've ever heard him use, so that's kind of nice. But once you're moved over here, I don't think the helicopter will actually start shooting at you. But kind of an... Okay, this helicopter's apparently really mad at me. Kind of an odd thing about this helicopter is that it's going to fly away. And small spoiler, we're going to be facing it again later in the level. But that's actually a different helicopter, even though one might expect it to be the same one. And as such, if you kill this one, it doesn't actually count towards your kills. It just wastes your rockets. But anyway, here's a wall. It says, Earth Defense Force will prevail. And if you jump on top of the Earth Defense Force's wall, you can get the secret electricity, which is guarded by 2 clear skeletons. Oh boy. Which apparently decided to hit me for a change, which is kind of unfortunate. If you do it right, you can actually kill both of those in one hit. I didn't do it right, so now I'm actually going to have to be a little bit careful and sort of remember where the enemies are. And hopefully I will. There's another turret over here, so we are actually just going to take a left. There are probably a couple routes you can take through this, honestly. I'm just going to take the safest one because it also, oddly enough, contains the most enemies. And also because I want to get some of my health back and not die. That's also pretty good reasoning as to why I'm going the way that I am. And hopefully all things are going to be okay. One annoying thing about this game is that a lot of the enemies can see you through walls. And they will start making noises while they are behind the wall. And this is annoying because of the fact that you'll hear an enemy and you'll be like, where is it? But actually you just will not be able to see it at all. It's just invisible to you. And it seems that I forgot to push a button to turn off a Gatling gun. I don't want Gatling guns to be turned on. I want them to be turned off as much as possible. And we can barely make it through here that way. And there's an enemy somewhere. Presumably over there. And it's guarding these armor shards, which are guarded by enemy number 4, which is hard to find. And enemies number 5, 6, 7, and 8 are coming up in a second. First, we need to kill all the guys that are going to try to get through this little tunnel over here. It's going to be a fair amount, like 6 of them or something, all running towards it. And they all die, because they're not actually very good at defending things. And again, left and right, wherever you look, basically, there's going to be turrets all over the place. I think this one you can actually turn off now and grab some armor, which is kind of the main reason. Otherwise, I wouldn't even bother with this, but given that that clear skeleton did beat me up a bit, I want to be a little bit more careful and actually grab that armor now. But it's something you can just skip doing entirely. Bunch of enemies here, one of which is inside the building. And all in all, things are going pretty okay. There's another enemy over there. There's also a turret over there. It's like barely out of range again. You do want to run though, because sometimes it does decide that it's in range and it'll just destroy you, and that's kind of bad. And over here there's a bunch of enemies that are walking off of the building. Now, these enemies, I decided to actually just open up the level in a level editor at one point because I couldn't find the hard to find enemies in this. I figured out maybe I'll just do it like that, and it taught me a couple things. One of which was that there's enemies that spawn in co-op and not in single player, but also that these do indeed have a very specific route they follow before they actually start attacking you. Which is why you can just run towards them with a sledgehammer and start battering at them because they won't actually do anything. Also, health power-ups. These are important because there's 4 more enemies that only spawn when you pick those up. I found out that if you actually try to kill all the enemies in a level, it's really hard. There's some really specific things you need to do sometimes, and it's really not obvious all the time. But there's a turret here, we can just run towards it, turn it off immediately. Wait for that guy to stop shooting at us. It takes like 5 shots usually. There we go. And we just kill all of them. There's another one behind that wall over there, but I don't think I'm going to bother. If you want, you can actually turn off the remaining turrets as well. There's a switch over there. And then you can walk all the way around to... Might as well do that now while I'm at it. You can walk all the way around. Also around this corner specifically. And then turn it off over here. I walked around this corner and not around this corner, I should mention. Because if you do this, the turret very often just decides that it can see you. And then it's going to shoot you repeatedly and you'll be at very low health. And my health's not that great right now anyway. One more dude. He's not a problem. And one more secret area waiting for us behind this wall over here. Secret armor. Secret graffiti. It's so secret you can barely see it even if you point your gun at it. And it says, "I love you, Sam." Which is very nice of the wall to say to me. Now, coming up is kind of an odd area. And it might bug out a bit, unfortunately. Because there's a helicopter behind that building. And the way I do this is I'm going to run to a specific spot. And it sometimes causes the helicopter to get stuck behind the building, and I'd rather not have that happen. But we'll see what happens. We're just going to start running. Again, I'm going to take a pretty specific route. Going to shoot this dude with a bunch of rockets. And he's dead now. That's what we got the rocket launcher for. And now we're just going to keep running, because there's actually more rockets further up ahead, and I want all of them. There's also a lot of enemies here that I'm going to skip for now. Because again, that helicopter is going to die today. I think one of the guys just kicked me, which is why I just took a lot of damage. But this kicking, oddly enough, does a lot more damage than actually getting shot in this game. But turn off that. Try not to get shot by that guy. And get some rockets. And pick up the rocket launcher. So he says a one-liner.
You are a pain, but I got a painkiller.
And you might be able to hear the helicopter, which is maybe good, actually. It might... Yay, it didn't get stuck. It's amazing. Yeah, sometimes it gets stuck. I'll talk about that more in a minute. But first I'm going to hide under this little tunnel over here for a bit. For a specific line of dialogue to occur between Sam and our good friend Quinn, I think. Whoever the lady is that keep talking to on the radio. There we go.
Can it wait? I'm still working on securing that bird.
But I thought...
No time to talk.
Alright, so I'm going to make a quick save. And I'm going to destroy the helicopter. And if the level ends, then I'm going to load that quick save because I do want to kill everyone, obviously. But right now, we are basically just under this archway. We can only damage it with the rocket launcher. And I'm just going to do it like this because this is basically the least scary way of doing it. There we go.
Rocket launcher. Accepts no substitutes.
But yeah, that dialogue with Quinn gets removed if you destroy the helicopter before she has a chance to talk to you. And the level didn't end. Alright, cool. So, the way that this level ends is a bit stupid, honestly. And the way it works, right, is there is a doorway over there. And the moment you stand close enough to that doorway, then you have touched the level exit trigger. And if you haven't destroyed the helicopter yet, then the level won't end. But if you touch the trigger and then destroy the helicopter, then the level will end like roughly after the helicopter explodes. But if you, if you haven't touched that trigger yet, then you're gonna need to touch it after destroying the helicopter, and then it still takes like 20 seconds for the level to actually end, which is very strange, and I'm not really sure why it works that way. But first, we're just gonna kill all the remaining enemies over here, because I don't know why I'm killing all the enemies in this playthrough, but it's something new, you know? It's something that I haven't actually tried doing before, and it seems like no one else has really made a video of it, so I might as well do it. Unless I just missed a video, in case I'm just horribly wrong. But killing all the enemies here, it mostly just consists of just running around the area for a bit more. There's still a couple of these spiders that didn't get hatched because I didn't shoot near them enough. I really only use a rocket launcher near that dude, so it's very possible there's still a bunch of eggs just lying around. And then there's stuff like this as well. But it gives us a good chance to use the melee attack because we don't often use it. But in this particular instance, the eggs are actually far apart from each other. Far enough apart from each other for it not to be actually scary at all. And now it's just kind of... There's still like a spider somewhere, but I don't know where it is. But I'm sure we'll run into it at some point. It can't hide forever. And it's probably hiding next to some other enemy. It probably followed us a little bit as we were running around. There we go. And we can still hear the groany sounds of several other enemies as well. So presumably if we would just make one large circle, we'll probably find the remaining 3 enemies. And then we can leave. But until then, we're just going to run around for a little bit. I know one enemy which I always forget, which is like hiding inside the little building over here. Yep. I always forget about that guy. And there's number 3. And we can... I guess we might as well pick up this armor as well because it's just lying over there. Now, before I'm going to leave the level, right, we actually got all secrets, all kills, and everything, but there's one more thing I want to try to do, and for that, I'm going to need to stop and restart the recording, because I think I can only do that at a high enough frame rate. So I'm going to do that over here, because there's this doorway, right, and I can jump over it if I so desire, and believe in myself. But you basically have to run towards it at a really high frame rate. And the level exit timer has like started now. But you can just sort of walk around this place and you're really not intended to, as you can probably imagine from this particular site. And I kind of just wanted to show you guys that.
Come in, HQ. The bird is secured.
I'm not even going to ask.
Good call.
But I need to bring you up to speed on what we've gotten out of the tablets Professor Stein was working on. They seem to indicate that there's a secret chamber inside the Great Pyramid. I want you to head that way. I'll get a chopper out to you.
Forget it. There isn't a man alive that can fly a chopper in here and survive. Anyway, I can see it from here, and I always preferred the scenic route.
What do you mean? There's aliens all over the place. It's...
Oh, that Sam, so reckless but lovable. And that is the end of this level. So I hope you enjoyed it so far. It was a bit messy, especially with all the jumping going around, but we made it to the end anyway. And it is actually really easy to get to the like underneath the estimated time in this level, which is kind of nice as well. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. And the next time we play, we are going to do level 5 Under the Iron Cloud. And I hope to see you there. Bye-bye.